Hi guys, Jess here. Today we're going to look at making ketchup. We're going to look at a hot and spicy tomato ketchup, a Moroccan style ketchup. And the thing about ketchups that's different from either jams, jellies or pickles is that with jams and jellies and pickles you've got a natural preservative in there. With the pickles you've got the acid of the vinegar that allows for the pickle to remain pretty much sterile. There's not much that's going to grow in that kind of acidity. There are a few bugs that will grow in there, but by and large they don't do you any harm. Similarly with the jam, you've got enough sugar in there, not enough water. Lots of sugar, not enough water for most bugs to grow. You'll get the funguses to grow. As you open a jar of jam and it's gone off because it's got the green fungus on the top of it, but that won't do you any harm. You just don't really want to eat it. Now homemade ketchups, they don't have either of those in there. They don't have either of those ways of keeping themselves preserved. If you buy ketchup, Heinz tomato ketchup, it's full of preservatives. So you have to be a bit careful making ketchups, and it's all to do with storage. And after I've shown you how to make this beautiful Moroccan style tomato ketchup, I'm going to show you a little trick on how to store your ketchup to avoid the problem of it going off. Because these kind of ketchups, you're not going to be using them on every day. Heinz make a fantastic standard tomato ketchup. I use it, it's up in my cupboard over there. And I can get it out any day in a squeezy bottle and use it on my chips if I'm having burger and chips or a fish and chip supper. Why would I want to try and compete with that? It's pointless. If you just want ketchup, tomato ketchup, go buy it from the supermarket. But these are specialist ketchups that I'm making here, and so you use them on reasonably special occasions, so you don't need to have it out in the cupboard all the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to show a method where you can store it, and you can take out as much as you want for a special occasion. Say you're making a lovely tagine for somebody, and you want a bit of this tomato ketchup as a dipping sauce, perhaps the kebabs that you might start with before your tagine main dish. Then you can say, yeah, I want this much of it, and you can take that out, and and you can use it. So we're going to show you that later on once we've made the tagine. So to start with, you see me there, I've just cut up a tray full of tomatoes. I've just roughly chopped them. It's nice to use your own tomatoes if you do a bit of tomato gardening, as I do, but just buy them from the supermarket. These actually have been bought from the supermarket, just chopped up roughly and placed in the tray. Now we want Moroccan flavours for this. So we want things like cinnamon, and it wants to be sweet, so we want a sweet element going in there, not just white refined cane sugar. That's not much fun. We want something with a bit of body to it, and we want the classic Moroccan corianders and the cumins and those kind of things. So it's a pretty rough and ready start to this process. Of course, the biggest thing that we want in all of these is garlic. I'm a great garlic fan, so let's have a couple of 3 cloves of garlic, and all we'll do is crush them like that, and we'll take off the skin, and we will just then put them, just give them a bit of a couple of 3 chops up, and we just chuck them in, and then we'll crush another one. Okay, and we'll break that up. Just it's real rough and ready stuff. This, snap it up in your fingers if you like. Just poke it in between the bits of tomato. And I'll have one more, at least one more in that lot of tomato. Okay, and we'll stick bits of that in where we can find a little hole. Great, so that's our garlic in there. And also ginger, of course. Ginger is a great one. So we want plenty of ginger. So we'll just slice off the skin of the ginger, and then we'll chop that up nice and and fine. Now you can find out things that go with tagine. You know, I'm making a Moroccan tomato ketchup here. You look up a tagine in a recipe book. See what spices they use to make their lamb tagine or chicken tagine or fish even. They use fish to make tagines. And then have a look and think, will they go in my recipe? And you know, and experiment. You know? But these are the standard, you know, spices and herbs to use. So there's a handful of ginger. Sprinkle that in. Okay. So that's probably quite a lot of ginger. Chilies. Need a bit of heat to it. These are a couple of bird's eye chilies. Be careful with chilies. Obviously, if you keep them reasonably whole, you know, if you just split them down the middle, say, and then perhaps once more, and put them in places, it's going to be less hot than if you chop them really finely and sprinkle it all over, because obviously it's got to infuse out of the individual chili. So I'm just going to put 2 in there, cut up into 4 bits, stick them in where you can find a space. There you go, and that's that. So that's your chilies in, and then we want the classic spices. We want some coriander seeds. I just put a goodly number of those in my mortar and pestle, and some cumin seeds. Love the smell of cumin, wonderful smell. Okay, a few of those, and just break them, just bruise them, just give them a quick. They don't need much, just so as they're crushed, because they're not going to stay in the ketchup, of course. You know, we're gonna filter this and reduce it and so on in the second part of this video. So, you know, that's about it. You see? So what I want to do then, sprinkle that over. Look at that, that's looking good already, isn't it? Lovely. Sprinkle that over. And then we want some cinnamon. Okay, and we take a stick of cinnamon. Gosh, this one hasn't even been opened. It's fresh out the supermarket today, look. There we are. Take a stick of cinnamon, perhaps snap it into 3, this will go into about 3 pieces, and just place that in 3 different spots, okay, in your dish. So that's where we've got so far. And the final ingredient to give the sweetness, I'm going to use sultanas, the classic ingredient for tagines. So I'm just going to get a handful of sultanas, sprinkle those on. Okay, this is going to taste absolutely fantastic. There we are, it's making my mouth water already. Okay, so that's it really, you know, rough and ready cooking. All I have to do now is get the olive oil, just so as it gives it a bit of grease, just sprinkle some olive oil over the top so everything's just moistened with olive oil. Don't go too crazy with it, but just enough to make sure there's some on there. There we go. And there you have it. That is now ready to go and be baked in the oven. And while that's baking, with the top open, in an oven, about a mid-oven, gas mark 5, whatever that is that 100 and 150, something like that, is it, for electricity? But I'll put that in gas mark 5, and I'll leave it there, at least I'll have a look at it in half an hour. It'll probably need more, it'll probably end up more like 45 minutes to an hour. But when I come back, I'll tell you how long I've left it there. There's a lot by eye, you know. You want to see it all have gone down and all the juices coming out of everything and it all smelling wonderful. So that's going to go in the oven now, and I'll be back with you in, like I say, about half an hour to 45 minutes for us to process this and make it into that wonderful ketchup. Okay, so I'll see you then, guys.